Our next guest is All Black number 1150, and he's one of many Tongan props to have taken the rugby world by storm in recent times. Ofa Tu'ungafasi, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in, brother.
Cheers, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I noticed you're very cool. Is it Harley Davidson T-shirt? You're looking very fly tonight, but you don't ride, do you?
No, I don't. My wife didn't allow me.
Is that right? Ofa, I want to start with you. I'd like to start at the beginning. So, in terms of your trip to New Zealand, because you arrived with your family aged 14 to Aotearoa. What are your memories of that time? Mum and Dad obviously decided to bring us here to New Zealand. I was 14 at the time, just for the whole
opportunity.
Family?
Yes, better opportunity, better a future for us kids. You know, I've got 9 brothers and 2 sisters.
Wow.
And Dad was the only breadwinner at the time, and I don't think it was an easy decision for them to leave their loved ones back home and moved here, but I'm glad that they did.
Wow. And so, did you all come together?
Dad and my 3 older brothers came first, 4, and then me, Mum, and the rest came, I think, a few months later.
Yeah. How was your English at the time?
I couldn't speak. I couldn't say a word.
Hey. Yeah. Where did the family settle?
We lived here in Mangere for 11 years, I think.
Yeah.
And then 2017 we moved further south. We're in Riwa now.
Wow. How long did it take you to learn English?
It took me the first 2 years was really, really tough. Obviously couldn't speak, but at Mangere College, there was a Tongan teacher who was teaching English at the time, Huni Fifita. He's still there.
Hello, Mr. Fifita.
One of the great teachers. He helped me a lot in terms of English speaking. And at school I had 4 English classes, and I wasn't allowed to do PE at the time.
You weren't allowed to do PE?
Yeah. So I spent time reading and learning how to write. So it was really tough.
And when did you realise that was it at Mangere College that you began your rugby journey? Yeah,
I suppose our dad played footy, and then I've got 9 other brothers. There was always a rugby ball at home. You know, the game was always at home. And fifth form is when I kind of made my mind up, I want to become a professional rugby player.
Is that right? What was it that made that goal for you?
Obviously, I've been here 2 years. Before then, I started to learn a little bit more about the All Blacks, see the opportunities and doors that rugby could open for me. You know, obviously, Dad was, like I said, Dad was the only breadwinner. There was 12 of us, and to be able to provide for my family financially was a big drive for me. Wow. And I saw, what rugby could provide for us.
Now, a lot of Tongan players who come here on scholarships, and they're often away from their family, and they come alone, they get homesick, that makes it hard. But with you, it was your family, it was a planned move.
Yeah.
So that would have, at least you had all your, I guess with so many brothers, it would have been easy making touch teams to play in the backyard.
Yeah, kneeling rugby in the living room. I can remember getting hidings from putting holes in the walls at home from Mum and Dad. But yeah, I knew a few boys back in Tonga that sort of came around the same time that moved here. So I was quite lucky to being able to be together with my family and getting the support, the advices that I need. Guys like Conrad Harrell, Malakai.
Were your fellow Tongans?
Yeah, we came around the same time. There were other boys as well, but didn't make it through, yeah.
And when you were starting to make your mark for Mangere College, because their last All Black was Frank Bunce, did you get all the big schools try to offer you scholarships?
There was a few, but I was happy in Mangere College. All my brothers were there. We lived not far away. I got the support I needed,
At home?
At home, but also at Mangere College. My sport wasn't always that it wasn't always the number one goal, or my parents never valued rugby. You know, they've always said from the beginning that I think it's real, just the same as any Pacific Island homes, is education, you know, religion, education, and then comes after.
And then everything else after that.
So for my parents, they wanted me to have, us kids to have a better education, you know, and then obviously got that support from Mangere College. They didn't see the point of me moving.
I love that you stayed at Mangere, that you didn't go to St Kitts or Kings, because you stayed at your school and your community and you added to the rugby program there. Was your team very good at the time?
Nah, we weren't very good. Would be lucky to get a full team on Saturday. At times I'd wait in the changing room to just before kick-off to find out where I'd be playing, you know, because the lock don't turn up on Saturday, so I had to fill in that lock. But yeah, my father always says, as long as you're playing good rugby, you know, it'll come.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Who were your heroes in the All Blacks that made you think, this is my dream, I'm going to be a professional rugby player and support my family?
Yeah, back then, the talk was always, you know, props weren't mature. You won't make it till you're 29, 30. That's when props starting to play their best footy. But I think, thinking back, I think Owen Franks just made the All Blacks and he was 21. So that really gave me, like, the confidence that I could, you know, if I just work hard, play good footy, listen to, you know, advices that Mum and Dad would give me, and our coach back then was Clive Edwards. He was awesome. He was like a kind of mentor to me. As long as I do those and stay on the right path, can make it earlier.
Well, and you did make it. You debuted for Auckland in 2012, which must have been a special moment, and then for the Blues. And I remember that moment. I remember your debut because I remember you had dreadlocks.
Yes.
You had long dreadlocks and they were kind of brown. What was that? Was that part of your Rasta beliefs at the time?
No, I had a few uncles in Tonga. Reggae was big in Tonga.
Yeah.
When we left, I had two uncles, they had dreads, but my hair just grew and then just slowly dreaded itself, and I just left it.
Yeah. What made you cut it eventually?
That's for 10 years, for Starship. They're awesome work that they do for our children. I think they're the only hospital, the only Starship in New Zealand.
Beautiful. So you shaved your locks off to raise money for Starship?
Yeah, that's funny because my wife said, if our kids ever get sick, we know, like, Starship will look after them. He goes, your hair will always grow back, which is true, you know.
Wow. Now, you mentioned that your dad played footy. He was actually a Tongan international.
Yeah.
What did it mean to him when you made it into the All Blacks? Was it 216?
Yeah, 216. It was very special. Dad never pushes us to play rugby, but I think in his heart and his mind he wanted us to, but he never pushed us to do it. I think, like I said, the sacrifices that they made to see it cannot pay off, but I always see it that way. Our mum and dad have done their bit, brought us here.
So their dream was for you to have a future, not necessarily be sports stars.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was a lovely bonus. But your father actually played in the very first World Cup in 1987, and you got to go with the All Blacks to the last World Cup, Japan, which is very special. There aren't many father and son teams. I think Rico Ioane, of course, and his dad played in 91, was in the 91 Manu Samoa team. How does that feel to you that you and your dad have made it to that level?
To be honest, I didn't really think about it. It's just footy. It's something that I love doing. There's more to life than footy.
Wow.
You know that, but it's something to be proud of. You know,
Yeah, and of course rugby is just so, because in '87 it was in New Zealand. It was the opening ceremony was really stink. It was all these just school kids just holding signs of all the countries. Now it's this multi-billion-dollar industry. Did he tell you any stories about his war days?
No, not really. There's still footage of the '87 World Cup we laugh about because Dad gives us advice and then we go back and look at the tape. He was doing the opposite.
Yeah.
But Dad, I think he really enjoyed that because he stayed. He played a few years in Wellington after that, in Club Rugby Wellington. I'm not sure which club. But Dad's and Mum and my two older brothers came over after the World Cup.
So now your little brother plays for the Crusaders?
Yeah.
And but another little brother, he could have gone down the rugby road, but he became a nurse, eh?
Yeah.
Which brother's that?
So that's after Issy Victor.
Yeah.
He still plays. He's at Grammatique. Him and so I've got two brothers here at the moment, younger brothers. Yeah, they're going good.
Yeah. So the dream for your family was always just to reach your potential in terms of the sort of life you could have. It wasn't about being famous or being sports stars. Because I noticed you always have a very kind of laid-back attitude that reflects your... But on the field, of course, you know, it all changes. But it seems like you've got your priorities right. You don't get caught up in all the distractions that come with rugby.
No, like I said before, to me, footy is... My dad always says it, you know, is a little bonus part of your life. You know, you're fortunate to being able to play footy. And I love the game, what it's given me. But like I said, I'm a father as well, you know. I'm a brother, a son, so there's more to life. Yeah, 100%. But, it's my job. You know, it provides me and, you know, and my family as well.
That's so cool, because a lot of people can't make that distinction between what they do for a living and what they do in real life. You don't get caught up in the professional rugby player thing. That doesn't define who you are.
No.
Now,
obviously, when I leave home, I've got a job when I get to rugby, you know. I put the rugby hat on. That's my job. I'm here to train, to get myself ready for Saturday, for game, and making sure that I'm keeping fit, you know. But once I leave training, get home, I put the family hat on. And when I'm out with my mates, it's the mate's hat on, you know. When I go back home to mum and dad, I'm put the son hat on. You know, I'm at home, mum and dad's. I'm just mum and dad's son. One of the sons.
Yeah, of course. As part of our show, we do a weekly segment. Actually, we're following the Mangere College First 15. They haven't won a game in 2 years. 7 of the boys in their team are from other schools. The other schools, I think, excluded, or, you know. There's no sponsors. It's a very different side of the thing. What would your advice be to those boys that are turning up every week for MC?
Oh, it was just the same when I was back there. You know, the grinds continue. My dad always say, just do your part, train hard. What you do on the field, that's what it counts. You know, you never know who's going to turn up and watch your game. You know, word of mouth is very powerful. You know, I think that's how I got picked up. Someone was watching the game and then he told someone else. It's tough. You know, we have it tough here. But just going to continue.
And of course, during COVID-19, when all the sports stopped, you know, were you worried at the time whether rugby would ever come back?
To be honest, I really enjoy that. The
lockdown. Yeah.
Like you said, my debut was back in 2012. I've never had a break since.
Wow.
I haven't had any injured, touch wood, any injury since. So I've been playing straight since 2012, and to be able to get that little break in between the rugby season was great. I enjoyed my time at home with the kids, and I think they got sick of me and Emma. But I really enjoy that. Yeah. But but I'm grateful that we're back out there and play some footy.
The Blues are having a great year. It must be exciting because, you know, you've been in the team since 2013. Sometimes there were challenging years. How does it feel this year?
It's good to be on the other side, I suppose. The boys are playing some good footy. The environment that we're creating the last few years. It's good. I think we're heading in the right directions, and we've got the right people on board.
I'm glad you stayed, because always as an Auckland rugby fan, you're used to watching good players and then they go off and play for Canterbury or something. So I'm glad you stayed loyal. You mentioned before that props reach maturity around 28, 29 when they start playing their best footy. That's where you're at now. What's ahead for you in terms of your career? What are your plans?
My plans, I've got one more season here next year in New Zealand, but I don't know what's happening after that.
Right, see what happens.
I'll see what happens. Whatever happens, happens.
Awesome, brother. Ofa Tu'ungafasi, thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Awesome,
Thanks
brother.
for having me.